The Xbox Developer Direct of 2025 was completely unexpected. As the first major kickoff gaming event of the year, the tone and the approach was similar to previous years, but it was also vastly different in some very key ways. Many questions surrounding the Xbox brand were sort of hanging in the air leading up to this event. Would they mention PlayStation? Would they announce any of these rumored titles that are coming to the Nintendo Switch 2 and the PS5? And what are the big surprises? Well, we got some pretty solid answers. So I want to talk about the good, the unexpected, and at the end of this video, I want to talk about why this was another significant page turn for the brand of Xbox. But before we get into it, if you like this kind of content, hit like and subscribe, and be sure to check out the live streams that happen on this channel. Without a doubt, this was one of the best gaming showcases that I've seen in a while. When someone asked me to give a score, I didn't hesitate. This was a 10 out of 10 event. Well, why? I want to break this into 3 parts. First, and most importantly, there was tons of gameplay, and not just like quick snippets of gameplay where it's all mashed together in a highlight reel. These were lengthy breakdowns with lots of info, analysis, and they did this with every game. In order, if we start with Ninja Gaiden, it took up 15 minutes, and we got a ridiculous amount of gameplay. And something I loved about this showing was there's a unique blend of old and new with this game. The game is clearly drawing from years of Ninja Gaiden games, and it also is very grounded and has a bit of a dated feel, but not in a bad way at all, because once the action starts, the quick movement, the combat, even the setting, it's very clear this game is delivering a modern, frenetic, and fast-paced game. And I'm going to comment on the surprise remakes shadow drop in a moment. The second thing that we got to see was a ton more of South of Midnight, and this entire game is just a vibe. From the music to the art style to the enemies and the larger-than-life boss fights, I am really looking forward to this game. I gotta say, the way they use the music to change and intensify as a boss fight escalates, it's just such a nice touch. I know other games have done that, but the music in this game really adds a great undercurrent of uniqueness and substance that I really appreciate. After that, Expedition 33 took the stage, and we finally got a clear explanation to the game's strange name, but also a better understanding of why the game is so juxtaposed with these beautiful and youthful looking characters in this very dark and macabre setting. The more I see from this game, the more I think we're looking at a surprise Game of the Year contender, and I continue to think that this game is going to be one of the ones that makes me think that turn-based games aren't so bad. It might be one of the first turn-based games that I roll credits on. And it was really exciting to see it add to the already stacked first half of the year. It's landing on April the 24th. And then the Big Daddy was ready to bring the showstopper energy. Doom the Dark Ages, without question, stole the show, and they clearly saved it for last for a reason. Going with a more grounded approach to movement and combat where you fight like a fast-moving tank, it just sounds incredible. The way that the shield will be a centerpiece to the combat has me absolutely stoked to play this game. The parrying, the blocking, the dashing, and the throwing of the shield is visceral, but it also is impactful over the flow of battle. And then the various melee weapons add so much punch and crunch, you can practically feel the destruction through the trailer. It feels like Doom asked if they could turn everything in the game up to 11. And then they show how the strafe and gun gameplay will make a return as a clear nod to the Doom games of the past. I said it after the stream, id Software wasn't just cooking, this game is a whole dang barbecue. So the gameplay was the first and biggest plus of this event. Second, unlike previous years, release dates were prominent throughout the entire event. South of Midnight on April the 8th, Expedition 33 on April 24th, and Doom the Dark Ages on May 15th. And Ninja Gaiden, I think, can be forgiven for just saying fall of 2025 because we know everybody's waiting for GTA 6 to release their game or their release date, and that part of the year is pretty much under that shadow. There are also, I think, 2 big things to take away from this showcase, and those 2 big things are gameplay and release dates. They delivered that on huge fronts. Those are always the big things that I ask for in a showcase. Give me gameplay and give me release dates. But the last big plus, which I think is a good segue into the unexpected, is that they shadow dropped Ninja Gaiden 2 Black onto Game Pass. This is the world of Ninja Gaiden 2 remastered with rich visuals according to the description, and this is something I've always said Xbox can tap into during their showcases and events. The shadow drop is a great fit for Game Pass. Other publishers and developers have to worry about marketing, pre-orders, sales, but shadow dropping a game on Game Pass has its own marketing punch for the Xbox brand. But something unexpected happened as the dust was settling on this event, and it started with the shadow drop. Right from the very beginning of the event, I knew this was going to be a very different Xbox Developer Direct. They opened their event with a third-party multi-plat game. Now, in the past, the Developer Direct felt like a great way to deep dive into the studios under Xbox ownership and see what they were working on and get a bunch of good gameplay. But things got even more strange when we started looking into the games themselves. The only game during this showcase that is an Xbox exclusive is South of Midnight, which you might shrug and say, well, yeah, we get it. They're doing away with the idea of exclusives. And it's very likely South of Midnight will even end up like Indiana Jones and just stagger its release to PlayStation 5 eventually. But the deeper you go down this rabbit hole, the more unexpected it gets. Prior to this event, many were curious if Xbox would ever say PlayStation 5 or even have PS5 in the event. Up to now, they've allowed the studios or Jeff Keighley or the Game Awards to reveal something about this coming to a rival platform. The first 4 games of 2024, Phil Spencer refused to name those games during the Xbox podcast. Then, Indiana Jones coming to PS5 was given to Jeff Keighley to announce, and then The Outer Worlds 2, which was once thought to be an Xbox exclusive, even announced that way, well, it showed up during the Game Awards and its end card said PS5. So the question was still hanging in the air. Would Xbox ever use their own showcase or event to directly mention PS5 as a platform that their title was headed to? Would they just continue announcing things and make them sort of appear like Xbox exclusives, and then later after the show, we would find out they were multi-plat releases? Well, this event made it clear. Xbox has no problem announcing or showing off their games and then putting PS5 on the end card. But if you think the plot is thick enough with that clear turning of the page in full effect, it's not over. Doom the Dark Ages, Expedition 33, and the shadow-dropped game Ninja Gaiden 2 Black, they are all PS5 Pro enhanced games. Now, it stands to reason that Ninja Gaiden 4 will also be PS5 Pro enhanced, coming from the same studio, but the landing page doesn't have those details yet. So Xbox didn't just use their event to promote games that are hitting PS5 day and date, but also games that will be at their best for console users on the PS5 Pro. This to me is the last shoe to drop. The Xbox CFO famously said that all these acquisitions would lead to games being first, better, or best on the Xbox platform. Well, that's really hard to claim when they're clearly not landing first if they're day and date on PS5, and they clearly aren't better if they're PS5 Pro enhanced, and being best is questionable since day and date was moved to Xbox Game Pass Ultimate and the price of Ultimate was raised. Any Xbox fans who were holding on to the hope that they would still be a priority for the games published and released by Xbox, well, you can let go of that hope now. Xbox just sent a loud and clear message with this direct. You are the same as PlayStation customers now, and to a certain degree, you aren't the same. Call of Duty devs worked with Sony to create proprietary anti-lag VRR for the PS5 Pro version of Black Ops 6, and now you have mainstay titles like Doom the Dark Ages using Xbox money and operating cost to do PS5 Pro enhancements that are there day one when the game lands. And if PSSR implementation needs any polishing or patching or optimizing, well, that's more dev time spent on the PlayStation customers. So to me, it's clear. The final page in the chapter of Xbox has turned, and the new chapter is one where showcases and events are celebrated by PC gamers, Xbox gamers, PlayStation gamers, and very soon and very likely, Nintendo Switch 2 gamers. Now, to some, this is a huge win, while to others, it's the sad end of an era. From where I sit, as long as the games are good and players are getting good value on their respective platforms or sub-services, this is all a good thing, but I can't help feeling a little sad, seeing the brand that got me back into console gaming change into something very different. But Those are just my thoughts, and I'd love to hear yours. You can leave a comment below, and always be sure to check out the other content that I do here, daily live streams and great discussions. And as always, if you like this video, please remember to hit like, share, and subscribe.